Welcome to the training on the Wright State University Self-Appraisal Form. My name is Emily Hammond, and I oversee performance reviews for all staff and non-bargaining unit faculty. Before we review the details of the form, I first wanted to direct you to the Performance Evaluation Overview training. That training video will aid your understanding of how performance management ties to the university mission and values. That video also reviews the timeline and provides suggestions for how employees and supervisors can improve the overall process. If you have not already watched that short video, it is highly recommended before you proceed. If you have watched it, thank you for your participation in making this vital process effective. This training covers only the specifics of the self-appraisal form. If you would like more information about the formal performance evaluation form and the conversation that is intended to be the result, please watch the specific video for that form. Additionally, for further information regarding the distinctions between this form and the formal performance evaluation form, please watch the training video titled Distinctions Between the Forms. If you are only interested in the specifics and conversation that is to result from the self-appraisal form, just stick with me. The self-appraisal form is provided as an instrument for employees to share their perspective on their job duties and any challenges they might be facing in completing those duties. In addition, it provides a way for employees to document their accomplishments and strengths and to reflect on how their supervisor and other work relationships may have impacted their performance. Finally, it gives employees a venue to discuss their long-term career interests and to develop ideas for growth and professional development. The self-appraisal form was developed as part of the university's desire to make this a collaborative process, and employees are encouraged to submit a self-appraisal to their supervisor and discuss this document as part of the performance evaluation cycle. The first section of the self-appraisal form is an opportunity for employees to share their current job responsibilities and challenges. This section is not intended to be a complete job description. This section asks employees to group their current essential job functions into 5 categories and then assign a level of importance to those tasks, 1 through 5, with 1 being the highest. This exercise is designed to create a conversation between the employee and supervisor to make sure that the understanding of the work priorities is congruent. It is possible that what an employee sees as their number 1 task is actually not the highest priority, and vice versa. Making sure that employees clearly understand the priorities of their function can reduce frustration and increase performance and engagement. Additionally, this section asks employees to provide support for the level of importance assigned in the function column. This is intended to be a few words or a short phrase that supports why the job responsibility being listed is essential to the job. For example, running reports in the job responsibility column could have a function of data integrity, or answering phones in the job responsibility column could have a function of customer service in the function column. The point of this is to have the employee and supervisor look critically at why a particular function is being performed. It is possible that this review will result in the employee having a non-essential function replaced with a task that provides greater value to the university. Section 1 also asks if any responsibilities have been added or removed during the review period. This is designed so that employees and supervisors can gauge whether a job description adequately describes the current role. Additionally, information in this section can help employees and supervisors determine when a job has changed enough to warrant a review by human resources. The general rule of thumb is that a position needs to have changed by more than 25% in order to warrant review, but looking at it annually allows employees and supervisors to determine when small changes have added up. This section also asks what challenges, if any, have made it difficult for an employee to meet performance expectations. This question is one of the reasons for the 2-conversation model that is advocated in our performance evaluation process overview training video, as well as our guidebook. Giving an employee the space to discuss challenges and barriers that they are facing is significantly more comfortable when not combined with their formal performance evaluation meeting. When asked about challenges in a formal evaluation meeting, some employees are reluctant to share them because they fear that they may be perceived as attempting to place blame and not accepting responsibility. Additionally, getting an understanding of the employee's perception of the challenges and barriers that they faced may help a supervisor prepare an employee for a less than stellar formal evaluation meeting, because the supervisor can share how the challenges were perhaps self-imposed or that the employee was able but unwilling to overcome the obstacles. The next section asks for the employee's input on what they perceive as their accomplishments and utilized strengths during the review period. This section is one of the few places that the self-appraisal form and the formal performance evaluation form are designed to overlap. Employees should list the accomplishments and achievements that they would like to see on their formal performance evaluation and provide support for how their goals and objectives from the previous review period were attained or exceeded. Additionally, this section asks employees to relay the particular strengths that they used during the review period. This is not intended to be a complete list of everything that an employee is good at. This is intended to be a few particular strengths that the employee was able to use in the past year. Being able to regularly deploy your strengths is a common indicator of an engaged employee. The purpose of this question is so that supervisors can attempt to provide more opportunities for an employee to use skills that they are strong in, so that their level of engagement might increase. The next section asks for information about the employee's relationship with their supervisor and colleagues. This question is the primary reason that the self-appraisal form stays at the departmental level and does not come to human resources. We encourage open and honest conversation, and an employee's private struggles with other university employees has no place in the official personnel file. That said, an employee having significant issues to share in this section does not need to explicitly list all the issues that are being faced. This is not intended to document unnecessary levels of detail. Bullet-pointed reminders of what needs to be discussed is sufficient. This section is also where we ask supervisors to request feedback from their direct reports on their own performance as a supervisor. Feedback should be a two-way conversation, and supervisors are expected to be open to constructive feedback from those that they interact with. Some of the powerful questions that supervisors can ask here are, "What's one thing I can do better for you?" It might be that an employee feels that you aren't listening when you take a call during a meeting with them. This is an opportunity for the supervisor either to avoid taking unnecessary calls or to make sure that they paraphrase where the conversation left off when they return. Another good question to ask is, how do you like being recognized when you do good work? Some employees thrive on public recognition, and others would stop high performance if it meant being in too bright a public spotlight. This is a simple, non-confrontational question that creates a two-way conversation and helps employees feel valued. A final powerful question is, what is one thing I could change in our interactions that would help you? Employees may then open up on something as simple as the fact that you're meeting with them too often or not often enough. It is a question that may ease a supervisor and employee into the desired two-way feedback conversation. This potential for employee-provided feedback is again why the two-conversation model is advocated in the Performance Evaluation Overview Training video and the guidebook. Asking for an employee to provide feedback on a supervisor's own performance during the formal evaluation meeting is likely to reduce the chance of an employee providing honest, constructive feedback. Having a separate meeting that focuses on the employee's challenges and needs results in a greater flow of information and an increased sense of employee engagement and empowerment. I will have to say that Section 4, Career Interests, has been one of the more controversial sections of either of the forms used for the annual review process. When soliciting feedback from the university community about the review process several years ago, the committee that designed this form heard from a reasonably sized contingent that they were asked where they saw themselves in 5 years during the interview, but were never asked again. However, once the form was released, there was an equally sized contingent that was almost insulted by this section. They were happy in their position and had no desire to do anything else, and were offended that there was pressure to move on. What I will say is that this section is designed to be an opportunity to share, not a requirement. If someone is happy in their current position, there is no issue with stating that they are happy in their current role. However, it is the university's expectation that all employees, even those who wish to stay in their current role, be growing and developing themselves professionally. Very few jobs stay the same for the length of an entire career, and the university wants employees to be engaged and empowered to increase the effectiveness of their positions. On the other hand, an employee may complete this section and indicate that their desired career path is one that is not currently available at the university. This is an opportunity for the supervisor to have an honest conversation with the employee that they may not be able to achieve their long-term career goals inside the university. This is yet another reason to use the two-conversation model and not have this discussion during the formal evaluation meeting. Doing so during the formal meeting may result in an employee seeing this honest but tough conversation as an attempt to indicate that their performance doesn't matter unless they intend to stay at the university forever. Supervisors are definitely encouraged to support employees in their growth and development and not reduce investment in them because an employee's long-term career goals may be outside their current role or department. Finally, the last section asks employees to share their thoughts on opportunities for development and future growth. As stated previously, it is expected that all university employees will be looking for opportunities to grow and develop professionally. This section should list the knowledge, skills, and abilities that the employee would like to grow over the next year. Employees should attempt to tie these opportunities to the department or university mission and should list an action plan of how they intend to accomplish this growth. Supervisors can then use this information to either set goals and objectives or complete the professional development plan section of the formal performance evaluation form. I hope that you have found this presentation informative and helpful. Please check out the other resources on the Human Resources webpage. We have the process overview and formal performance evaluation form training videos, as well as the guidebook, actual forms, and the frequently asked questions page, as well as a video describing the differences between the self-appraisal form and the formal performance evaluation form. Thank you for your interest in making this process effective and valuable, and also for your participation in making Wright State University the best university for the world.